I were to ask you all what you were doing on December 5th, 2015, some may say you were working, some may say you were out with family and friends for dinner, some may say you were just relaxing at home on a nice Sunday afternoon. Well, on December 5th, 2015, my father died unexpectedly from a heart attack. Let me rewind back to the Saturday night before. We were invited over to my parents for supper. We had ribeye and potatoes and vegetables, and my dad ate like it was his best meal. We enjoyed reminiscing about things I used to do as a child. We just had a really great night, and my kids really enjoyed it. We had discussed how we would meet my parents at church the next day, and the next day came, and we met my parents at church. I sat beside my dad like I would normally do. And my kids were kind of misbehaving in church, and I was getting a little stressed out. So church got over, and it was time to go home. So I quickly said goodbye to my parents. I just wanted to get my kids home and separate them. Little did I know that was the last time I'd see my dad alive. We went home, and later that afternoon, I got a call about 3 o'clock. And it was my mom. She was crying hysterically on the other end. It was a call that you never want to receive as a daughter, a son, or a granddaughter, whatever. And she said, "Angie, there's been an accident. We need to get to Burlington as soon as possible." I quickly hung up the phone, called my children's father, had him come home from work, and I took off and went to pick up my mom. I was greeted by 2 local police officers, one whom I knew. I could tell by the look on his face that it wasn't a good sign. But I stayed strong for my mom and positive because I needed to be there for her. We then traveled to Burlington, which is about 30 miles away. I remember my mom crying, sobbing the whole way there. And I was reassuring her, "Mom, it's going to be okay. We'll see what happened. It could be very minor. They're doing what they need to do for him." So we arrived at the hospital and were greeted by a family friend and the hospital chaplain. They took us into a room, and we waited for the doctor to come in and to tell us what had happened. The doctor came in along with a deputy sheriff, and they then told us that my dad had passed away from a heart attack. He was with a friend, and they were looking for old car parts for my dad's Super Bee. And he went into cardiac arrest, and the fellow that was with him did try CPR, but was unsuccessful. So, after we collected ourselves, after we received the terrible news, we were then offered to go see my dad. I was very hesitant, nervous, to say the least. But when I walked into my dad's room, he looked very peaceful. I went up to him and studied his hands. My dad had very hard-working hands. And I just couldn't believe that this was even happening. My parents weren't supposed to pass away. My dad was only 68 years old. He was still young. So, with that said, life can change so drastically. So, as Father's Day is approaching, remember to make memories with your dad. Remember to tell your dad you love him. Because when they're gone, the memories are all you have. And believe me, I have great memories. And we often joke about them at family get-togethers or just in general. And they make me smile. So, my father was my hero, and still is. He was a kind soul, knew no stranger, and he taught me great work ethic and how to be a great, independent, strong woman. And I'm forever grateful for that.